Do you ever feel drained and unmotivated now that the holiday cheer has faded? You are not alone. Today, we're diving into seasonal affective disorder and how it uniquely impacts us as parents. So, get ready for some family friendly strategies to boost your mood and rediscover your spark this winter. Hey parents, welcome to Fulfillment Therapy. Do you want to raise your kids better and have a stronger marriage? Are you up late at night researching marriage and parenting tools and self-care tips? Do you start each day hoping for deeper connections and less chaos, but it ends with family arguments and going 12 different directions again? My name's Kendra, wife, mom, therapist, and growth enthusiast. It wasn't until I discovered how to fulfill my unmet needs that I was finally able to show up as my best self as a spouse and parent. I realized that by meeting my needs, I could more fully meet the needs of my family with more energy and less resentment. In this podcast, I teach parents skills like boundary setting, prioritizing personal needs, communication, and claiming ownership. Just like my clients, you'll be shocked by the improvement in your marriage, parenting, and personal life when you focus on fulfilling your important unmet needs. Ready to prioritize yourself so you can quit mentally throat punching people? Then grab those earbuds and head outside, and let's walk and talk. Welcome back, my friends, to episode number 184, Parenting Through the Darkness, Coping with Seasonal Affective Disorder. This is something I continue to come back to because my clients are in the dark when it comes to what seasonal affective disorder is and how to manage it. Even though I've talked about it in the past, it is important to come back to it because it eliminates a lot of the pressure and disappointment we put it in ourselves when we're not performing as we think we should. They don't realize what it is that is happening and how there can be some simple fixes. So I want to talk about that today. Before we go into that, I want to remind you to go to fulfillment.therapist to sign up for one of our classes. When we're talking about seasonal affective disorder, there are amazing tips to help your mental health and wellness. One of those things is to sign up for our courses. They are so affordable. Even if you miss the 48-hour window for discounts, it is still incredibly affordable. There's Ignite Your Life, a personal growth course, Mend Your Marriage, and an upcoming course, Heal Your Home for Parenting. So check those out. There's also Find Your Focus if you would like to start a podcast or an online business for that extra income with some flexibility for parents. You can check that out on our website, once again, fulfillmenttherapy.org. Now back to our episode for today. Let's talk about SAD. What is it? If you are a parent really wanting to improve your mental health and wellness and life fulfillment, it might be difficult if you have something called SAD or seasonal affective disorder. You might have SAD if you are feeling stuck in a rut, lacking that enthusiasm, or running on fumes as an overwhelmed parent and spouse. I know I get stuck in this rut regularly in January and February, especially. Like it can happen earlier, and it does to many of my clients, but they're often distracted by the holidays or other things going on, so they might not notice it as intensely. But most of us, once the holidays are over, start to really feel like we're trudging through mud and really struggling. So maybe this is you. Seasonal affective disorder is a type of depression related to changes in the season, and it typically starts late fall or early winter, and it can leave you feeling fatigued, depressed, and hopeless, and sometimes socially withdrawn. Are you withdrawing more than you might usually? As parents, SAD can hit us particularly hard and exacerbate feelings of being overwhelmed and drained. Dr. Norman Rosenthal, the psychiatrist and SAD researcher, describes it perfectly. He says, SAD is like a hibernation response gone awry in our modern environment. When I'm experiencing SAD, I want to hibernate, but I can't. The demands of parenting and life keep going, but my body slows down. Even my mind is slowing down. It's hard to process things. Like I just want to bury myself in the covers, but I'm still trying to do all those things. I'm doing all the right things, yet it's still so hard. It feels so beyond me sometimes. And a lot of my clients are saying the exact same thing. When I remind them of what seasonal affective disorder is, it helps them recognize this is a normal thing that impacts so many people. If you're grappling with SAD, everyday parenting can feel monumental and impossible. So you might find yourself struggling to engage with your kids, lacking the energy to help them with homework or make a dinner. That enthusiasm for family activities that you once had seems to have vanished, leading to feelings of guilt and frustration. My friends, you are not alone. Many of my clients face similar challenges. Even Adele, the singer, talks openly about her battle with SAD. It made it really difficult for her to live in the UK. So she ended up relocating to Los Angeles because it was sunnier and helped her manage her symptoms better. I know when I was studying it a long time ago, I was like, why does this always get so hard about this time? All across the United States, the places that I've lived the most, like Wisconsin, Idaho, and Minnesota, really struggle with seasonal affective disorder because of the amount of sunlight they receive and the long winters. It makes sense why I've struggled with this for so long in my life because of those states that I've lived in. So maybe that's you. And even other places in the world experience this. Consider researching that a little more to figure out if that might be you. Okay, so now maybe you realize, okay, yes, I do have seasonal affective disorder. So what can I do about it? Like I've mentioned in previous episodes, you can consider light therapy. This is using a light box for about 20 to 30 minutes each morning. This can help regulate your body's circadian rhythm and help boost your mood. Another thing that I always do and recommend to my clients is exercise. Even just a short walk a day can make a significant difference. I'll try to get moving, especially during daylight hours outside when possible, even if it's cold. It really does help. And then the next one is mindfulness and meditation. These things always help. So, those simple techniques like deep breathing or guided imagery can really help calm your mind and reduce that stress. Now, what about some actionable steps for parenting when these things are really hard and you're in the thick of it? You can establish a consistent sleep schedule for your whole family. This can really help regulate your body's internal clock. You can also plan those outdoor activities during daylight hours or even on those cloudy days. So you can still have maybe a winter picnic with thermals of chicken noodle soup or something like that, or do you just take a very quick walk? Whatever it is, you can still do that as a family because chances are, if you're struggling with it, maybe your kids are too. Normalizing that earlier in the season and say, hey, sometimes these things happen. So if you're struggling with this or feeling this way, this might be what's happening. And that's totally normal and it's okay. But there's things that we can do to help with that. So let me know if you're feeling that way. And that can take the shame away from it. You could also create a supportive environment at home with maybe warm lighting, cozy spaces, like blankets and books and hot chocolate, and just, again, normalizing that experience and knowing that it's for a time. Another thing that my family and I like to do is we like to plan little getaways. It doesn't have to be fancy. It can be scheduling a dumpy hotel in the mountains with your family, just making it a sledding day up in the mountains overnight and having pizza that night. Like it doesn't have to be big, but something where you are getting outside, you're getting away, something to look forward to. If money is an issue, it doesn't have to be that big of a deal. It's something that you can plan for. Or it could be something bigger, like traveling somewhere bright and warm, and you just know that in January or February, that's something you need to do because it's such a difficult time to get through without some sunny weather. As parents, we often put ourselves last, and I talk about that a lot on this podcast. When we're dealing with SAD or seasonal affective disorder, self care becomes even more critical, my friends. So don't hesitate to ask for that help, whether it's from your spouse, family members, or a therapist. It's really important to communicate our needs clearly, especially with your spouse and your family, but also with friends or anyone else, whoever that might be, whoever your support system is. Your support system, they cannot help you if they don't understand what it is that you're going through. So, again, my friends, wrapping up today's episode, managing SAD is a process. Be patient with yourself and focus on those small, positive changes. Remember that incremental growth that I am always talking about. It's not just for you, but your entire family. Like they are going to be going through these things too, whether it's right now or later in life, and you're modeling how to handle that well. When you take care of yourself, you're setting that powerful example to your children and to others, maybe people you don't even recognize, but you're also creating that more harmonious, peaceful home environment. So take away the shame, take away the blame, take away all that guilt. Recognize this is just a normal part of the winter season, especially if you live in those cold, dark, and dreary places. Unfortunately, we are not like bears and we cannot hibernate in the same way, but there are things we can do to improve our winter and get through it. You are not alone, my friends. Do what you can to navigate this and get the help you need. Check out our blog on fulfillmenttherapy.org/blog. We turn all of our podcast episodes into blog articles so you can get all of that information there and use those tools and resources to take your mental health and wellness and your life fulfillment to the next level. So check that out, as well as all of our social media channels on Instagram and Facebook. Just check out Fulfillment Therapy, and all of the links are in the show notes, so you can check that out as well. All right, my friends, you take care, and I'll see you back here in just a few days. Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, chances are someone else would too. Would you take 30 seconds to share this with a friend who's looking for greater family fulfillment? And while you're sharing, tell me what you think about the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. It refuels me when I hear this podcast is helping you. No matter what your house or your hair looks like, I'll meet you back here every Monday and Thursday morning for more episodes. Until then.